Hi, I'm Coach MK, founder of the Fitness Protection Program. I'm a run coach, not a life coach. We're never really talking about the running. Running is the tool. It's the conduit we use to examine the world we live in, as well as its impact on our own lives and the lives of the people around us. How we react to certain people and to certain stories tells us a lot about how we view ourselves. I'm committed to the thoughtful, intentional exploration of the importance of running so that no one discounts their own badassery, ever. Final note, this podcast is geared towards every runner who won't lose their home, livelihood, or health insurance if they show up to the corral with a hangover. Not that I'm encouraging you to do that, just saying. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Fitness Protection Podcast.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear MK. Happy birthday to you.
You know, it was MK's birthday not too long ago. It was her birthday in August.
That's right.
I'm thirsty. Is there water in there?
Yes, there is water in there.
I mean, those are important. These are important questions, Mom.
Yes, exactly. Is
there water in there? Can I drink that? Can I have this? So, Roz, tell me all about your birthday party. I heard it was amazing. After you drink your water.
After you drink
I'll drink mine too.
Yeah. Of course, of course. Oh, that was a big loud noise. What's Daddy doing?
What is Daddy doing? I bet he's trying to do Bulgarian split squats today so we won't have to on Wednesday.
For those of you who can't see, that is a big old water bottle. Now, Roz, don't talk too close to the microphone because then the sound will sound too loud. But can you tell MK about your birthday party?
Can you see my microphone, Roz?
Okay.
When we talk over it, it works best like this.
Did you have a great birthday?
I had an amazing birthday.
Did you have a great birthday, MK?
I had the best birthday ever, but I was not Princess Moana like you were.
Speaker. Sorry. Okay. Try again. Did you have a great birthday, MK?
Yes, I did. I had an amazing birthday. But I hear yours was better, Roz, because you were Princess Moana and you had an outdoor birthday party.
Did you have an outdoor birthday party? Was your party outside? You got to use words so people can hear you.
I did have a birthday outside. I didn't drink more water.
Well, let's finish talking first so that we can.
My water.
Okay, yeah, you can have another drink of water.
What is this?
That's just a dent in my water bottle. I dropped it and it got dented. What are you gonna do? All right, take a drink. Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's exactly what I would do.
Very important, guys. Got to stay hydrated after all this birthday, whole weekend of birthday.
I mean, lots of things happened this weekend that needed to be celebrated. Yeah. I think someone got married. Are we allowed to talk about that? If you're watching, I can see that you joined. Are we allowed to talk about the wedding of the year?
Ooh, was there a wedding of the... Oh!
Yeah.
Sorry, I start with R.
Maybe we'll wait for a comment before we elaborate on that.
Just saying somebody married one of her children off this weekend.
Can I press the button?
No, honey, you're not here to type right now because I'm working. You're just here to talk and say hi. So yeah, someone did, and
I deleted.
Everyone got to do it on their own terms, and that's.
Did you get presents? Yeah,
I got presents. I'm getting necklace with a little stone on it for each of my children.
Can I see?
Wow.
Well, it isn't ready yet. The jeweler's making it.
So we'll have to see it when it gets made.
Can I see MK?
When it's ready, I promise I will show it to you.
Let me see if I can find a way to show you MK. Let's go over to Facebook and see if are we live on Facebook?
We are live on Facebook and on Twitch.
All right.
Oh, everybody's saying it's not my birthday, actually. Thank you. It was my birthday last month. But Princess Rosalind had a birthday this weekend. So I kicked off this live stream by singing to her.
Yes, today was Roz's official 4th birthday. Oops. Oh, there we go. Yes, today was Roz's official 4th birthday. Yesterday was her 4th birthday party. So it's been a full weekend of amazingness for everyone.
Can I see?
We moved this weekend temporarily.
I think that day is good. Did you have fun?
Oh my gosh, I had so much fun. So much fun. My new house has a pool, Roz, and a huge backyard with a great big castle.
Can I go
Yes. Yes, you can you need to come to Denver while we have possession of this house. Everybody needs to come visit. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to give out the address. I want to start the stream by saying thank you to everybody who has sent gifts and cards to my children. I really, 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 really appreciate it. I'll still be coming by the house and checking. So if you send something just because we moved out, we're not forwarding our mail. We've been advised by the police not to do that. So while we're out, we are just going to stay a little extra secure while we can. But we are not moving out strictly because of the incident 2 weeks ago. We are moving out because we had a leaky pipe while I was out getting my surgery, and fixing the fallout from the pipe is going to be a lot more complicated in this house since it was built in 1884 and is basically held together by twist ties and duct tape. So every little thing that goes wrong belies the 5 fix-its underneath it from 1937, which is pretty darn epic. So we are out until the renovations are complete, which they're saying is going to be 2 weeks, but we all know what that means in contractor speak. It's more like never. Either way, if we could stay in this house for 2 months, I would be really happy with that. Oh, look, I see Mr. Sarah. I see Mr. Dr. Coach Sarah. Hi, Mr. Dr. Coach Sarah. We would love to see you join the stream a little more often because, it's a little girly and we've been told we need more men. My husband travels for work, so that means you're nominated. Yay, you. We'd love to see you on Wednesdays. That's our favorite day over in Fitness Protection this month.
Because he wants to maintain. You'll have to say it a little louder. I'll let you say it.
Oh, we'll have to balance that against maintaining my mystique.
All right, we're having a little bit of a power struggle here over headphones, so we're going to say night-night.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so glad your house and family survived Dorian. I'm glad you're back home. I'm sorry about your boat, but yeah, this is exactly what insurance is for. I remember when my aunt dated a guy for the longest time that while I was working in reinsurance, who was very insistent that insurance was a scam. And I was like, don't marry him. What are you doing? Thank God she didn't. Because insurance, you know what? It is not, in fact, a scam. There's a lot that could be better about the market, but you're better off having it than not, for sure. With that in mind, are we ready to rock and roll, Sarah?
I just want to clarify, you were not talking to me when you were talking about having a boat, because I don't have a boat. You must be talking about
I was responding to someone on Twitch who luckily, I know we had some people in Florida. If you are being affected by Dorian right now, our thoughts and prayers are with you. And if you would like, the Bahamas, by the way, it was completely decimated. The death toll continues to rise. And if you've noticed the earrings that I wear most weeks, these are usually produced by my friend Coco Blasdell Smith of Cocotte Jewelry, who she grew up in the Bahamas and has a real soft spot for them. So if you go to her Instagram, it's Cocotte Jewelry. You can see that she has a lot of pieces that are for sale in her stories, and all of the purchase price, like she's donating everything to Dorian recovery. So specifically for the Bahamas, which, not that we have people here that need help too, but the Bahamas got hit a whole lot worse, as tends to happen based on where they're located. So if you want some fun earrings and pretty much everything that I own, that's worth looking at comes from Coco. She is, my life has gotten a lot prettier since she's been in it. Go to Cocotte Jewelry and check out the Instagram stories and see what pieces there are to purchase. If you live in the LA area, she has 2 trunk shows that will be happening later this week. DM me for the details, because I think they're both being held in private homes. One is in Redondo Beach. So direct message me or text me. I will. If you think you might want to go to these trunk shows where she's going to be showing up, let me know and I'll get you the details. Not all pieces from the trunk shows specifically will be going towards Dorian Sport, but those, it doesn't matter where you are. She does ship, and she will ship internationally as well. For those of you who are just joining the live stream, my name is Coach MK, and I'm being joined by Coach Sarah. This is our weekly segment, Ask the Coaches, Ask Away, where we answer all the questions on the minds and hearts of all of our runners in our programs that are open right now at the Fitness Protection Program. This live stream is being converted into a podcast, so if you subscribe to Fitness Protection Running Life on iTunes, you can hear this. If you jump in, you're like, you know what, I don't have time to watch the whole live stream right now. Amazing.
You can get it in podcast form a little bit later. Links will be on the Coached and Loved blog. If you go and register at coachedandloved.com, you will get updates and notifications when the blog is updated, and you will have all the information at your fingertips there. Yay! Tonight we'll be starting. I just feel like we need to start with Rebuild, since that podcast it's being downloaded really rapidly. It has been very popular.
Ooh, that's so exciting. I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, let's do it. Let's absolutely start with Rebuild.
Rebuild, by the way, for those of you that have managed to escape all of the emails that I've been sending and all the mistakes I've been making in them for the past 24 hours. Oops. Thanks for your patience there, guys. Rebuild is a program that I designed for experienced runners who are returning after an extended period of not running. Generally speaking, we tend to be thrown into Couch to 5K programs, which frankly, we don't belong in. There's a big difference between developing a habit for the first time and coming back to a habit that you have had before. There's a difference psychologically in something that used to be easy, now feeling really challenging in the same body. Whether or not that body's in the same condition is beside the point. I am living that right now. I had my first really good long run today, though, that I've had in a very long time. And though these are the moments that we live for, that promise of what the future can bring if we make good choices today. It can take a while to get here. You will get there faster with fewer chances of injury with Rebuild. If you have a little modicum of fitness to maintain, but you just don't have the time to devote all that we ask or do all that we ask of you and maintain, Rebuild is a great place to hang out until life calms down. You will never feel less than. We really don't care why you're there. We just care that you have the support you need every step of the way, no matter what life throws at you. We have a program for that. With no further ado, the questions tonight from Rebuild, unless Coach Sarah had something else she wanted to say.
That is that you said it beautifully. We love Rebuild. I am so proud of the work that everyone is doing in Rebuild. And we have 3 questions in Rebuild tonight. I am going to read you the first one.
Yay!
All right. Hi, Coach MK and Coach Sarah. After a stressful summer, September has gifted me with a Crohn's flare-up. So I'm interjecting as Coach Sarah to say, I'm so sorry. One of my dearest friends who I've been friends with for a long time has Crohn's, and the flare-ups are so tough. And I feel for you.
It's not a small deal.
Not a small deal. I have felt terrible, and I can't even make the easiest workout. I can't make it even through the easiest workout in week 1 of lane 1. Oh, that's so tough. This is fairly demoralizing, so I have very little motivation to do anything, honestly. I know that 30 minutes is the minimum necessary to make progress, but is there
20.
a shorter duration that will at least provide some benefit? Okay, so that's answer number 1 is 20. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that knowing what I would be doing is in some way beneficial to my body.
Yes.
That would help motivate me out the door on days that would be much easier to give up. Thanks.
Okay, so something a rabbit hole we did not dive into, mainly because I kept trying to. It was me. Sarah kept trying to put me back on track, but I'm so bad at staying on topic, as we all know. The magic's in the meandering, but I didn't really get to discuss one critical detail that's super unsexy and very vague, and that thing is critical adaptations, or sometimes called crucial adaptations. And the list of what those are is pretty long. What it boils down to is your body ready to move forward on your ankles? Are your feet ready to carry your body's weight forward? And that's an interest, don't over intellectualize it. But what it does matter is your body adapted to the thing that you're going to ask it to do later. That is what makes Rebuild so valuable. One of the points I kept trying to emphasize, but it's really difficult to articulate. You are far better off, and I say this all the time, and no one ever believes it. But crucial adaptations are exactly why it is far better to give me 20 minutes of even walking 5 or 6 days a week versus 3 1-hour or 45-minute blocks of really hard running, even twice a week. Like that consistency will always trump intensity. Always. I don't yes, you're a beautiful, unique snowflake, but you're still a human snowflake. And we don't vary that much from person to person when it comes to our cardiovascular systems. So with that in mind, it will be easier and you will come back faster if you have maintained consistency, because you will have, in fact, maintained the critical adaptations in your tendons, joints, and ligaments specifically. in your knees and in your ankles. And I can't emphasize how big of a deal that actually is. Part of the reason I was able to have a really terrific 12-mile run this morning, part of the reason I'm able to do a lot of the things that I've been doing throughout my period of convalescence and recovery, all comes down to the fact that I made myself do something, not during the pregnancy when things were really bad, but after the pregnancy, I made myself do at least 20 minutes of something every single day so that I could maintain or get back into having those adaptations in my feet, because that plus having the real estate on your calendar and keeping that habit going, that is the triple threat combination that will shoot you back to where you were faster than if we do nothing at all. So yes, there is value to be had in 20 minutes physiologically, but if it's just 5 of getting on the treadmill and then getting back on the couch, you know what? That is still better than nothing. It's, again, for all the reasons I just said, the crucial adaptations, the consistency, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot that should be said for something being better than nothing. But from that perspective, even 5 minutes a day, I would take it on the treadmill. So don't look at it as like 20 or nothing. Focus on what you can do. Let that always be your first question. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Maybe you can't run, but you can walk. If you can walk and you can give me 20 minutes of walking, great. Give me 20 minutes of walking. I don't care if you're on the phone talking to your college roommate during that time. I don't care if you are calling your insurance company and sorting something out. I don't care if you're listening to the Allie on the Run podcast, which, if you're not familiar, she also suffers from Crohn's disease. So if you need maybe you're already aware of her and the community that follows her. And fun fact, I was a finalist for the Run Rabbit competition that she was in when I was living in New York City, when she was training for the Hamptons Marathon and became, the PR sensation that she is. So like 10 years ago, way back when, she beat me for a position at Jackrabbit Sports for that Hamptons thing that she did. So she's a lovely person. Her podcast is terrific. And even if you're just listening to that while you move for 20 minutes, again, that will always be better than nothing. Mm-hmm. And I'm really sorry you're going through this. I am.
Yeah.
Focus on what you can do and that's beyond the movement. That's also making a list of the things that cause the triggers and the flare-ups. And I know it's not perfect. Inflammation is it's tough to articulate and tough to talk about, but I know for me, it's sugar. Sugar is a huge trigger. As much as it's one of the reasons why I don't talk about it a whole lot or say I don't like sugar. I don't eat a lot of sugary things. It's just easier than saying, when I do, I get arthritis in my toes and my fingers and it hurts and it's terrible. But some foods are more prone to inflammation than others. So please, though, if you do start restricting, speak with a nutritionist first.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I just want to add that I know how defeating it can feel to know that like at most you have 5 minutes in you and then you're going to be done. And 5 minutes just feels like nothing. And it's really, really hard to motivate yourself to do 5 minutes of anything. When I was assigned nerve glides by my PT for my sciatic nerve, and it was like 15 per side a few times a day. And getting myself to do them was, that's easy as fuck. Like I just lay down and do your nerve glides already. But it was, but
it doesn't feel like you're doing anything.
It doesn't feel like
so it's kind of like the reason I made everyone at Lifetime when I first started coaching, like use the PVC pipe, the 2x4 like I do. It's that they were getting like really soft foam rollers and they're like, well, this doesn't do anything. And if it doesn't do anything, if it doesn't feel like it's doing something, you're just not going to do it. Yeah. So I went straight to as hard as I could possibly get and then would dial them back. Not that we need to do that with your running, but I get it when it comes to nerve glides. Some things aren't meant to be huge, but they do add up little by little over time.
Yes. And the nerve glides definitely did. And I'm glad that I did them. But man, I was like, why is it so hard for me to do these? This should not be so hard. And yet I get it. It really is.
Because we're efficient humans and we're not afraid to do hard work. We are afraid of wasting our time. So anything that doesn't feel like hard work, we feel like we're wasting our time. It's part of our conditioning. So I just hear my voice in the back of your head saying, get it done, because you really need to do it. I had to do nerve glides too. If you remember when I was having the back issues.
I do remember.
February 2000.
Part of why I did it.
Oh, really?
I was like, yeah, because I remembered that. And I was like, okay, and Kate did her nerve glides. You do your nerve glides. You play
nerve glides every hour on the hour. I had an alarm set in my Google Calendar.
Oh my goodness. You're amazing.
All right. I just don't like being injured.
I know. Being injured sucks. Having flare-ups of autoimmune diseases, it's terrible. It's terrible. Mm-hmm. I have some of that in my close family too. And I really feel for you. Speaking of that, we have another sort of similar question coming up next. Did you want to read this one? Are you able to see where it is? Do you want me to read it to you?
If you can read it to me, because I don't have the document open. I'm sorry. I sat down and started talking to you and did not open the document. I'm so sorry. Coach Sarah is wonderful at pulling all the questions together right before we sit down. Because for the past 5 weeks, something has continually gotten in the way, and it's been scramble. I can't find anything. So
I will read the questions tonight, and we'll go from there. That's awesome. All right, next question. My health is not good right now, and after a hard conversation with myself, I am happy rebuild is here for me. I'm dealing with massive fatigue and neuropathy in both my arms and legs. The fatigue is making it hard to get up in the morning and move my body. And the near constant pain is such a mental suck.
Yep.
The question is, while I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my body, is it okay to do both the rebuild and maintain strength? Thank you so much for having a safe place for me to keep my running practice while I can't do what I want to.
I'm totally good with it. If your doctor and your physical therapist is good with it, then I am good with it. Normally, I don't like giving people de facto category because here's what's going to happen, right? If I say to people in maintain, yes, you can do both, they're going to do 3 sets of each and overdo it. And we do have to think about central nervous system fatigue. It's real. It's a thing. It will make you, when we feel a little tired, we think, oh, I just need to push through it. And it's like, no, that's a signal from your body. These are things that we've not been taught to pay attention to, or signals that we've been taught to ignore. So if you are there now or have been there, I get it. That just means you're a human and you're an overachiever and you function because you're doing exactly what you've been conditioned to do. I can't give categorical permission for everyone to do this, but for you in a time when you're not running, focus on what you can do. If you can walk. Again, want to keep those crucial adaptations in your tendons, joints, and ligaments, especially your feet. But if that is too painful, then yes, please, by all means, if you can do them barefoot is always preferred with the strength. But if you can't, that's fine doing them shod. Something is always better than nothing. It's not optimal or bust. So I'm really, really sorry you're going through this period. I really hope that there's a light at the end of the tunnel for you. I know having been there again, it's when you're down, when you're hurt, and when no one's giving you a clear path to better, it is demoralizing and frankly, fucking terrifying because will I ever get better? Will I ever feel better? Is this my new normal? I mean, that's keeping your head above water and focus is the most important thing you can do. So that question, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I hate that question, but I had to ask myself that question every single day for 18 months. And then I had to go to my GP and push and say, I got to start from the beginning. And that was when things started turning around, when I finally saw someone who knew me and had seen me at my best. So, not all doctors are bad, but sometimes it's hard to break a habit if someone has seen you and they already think that you're exaggerating, because pain is a tough thing to notice from the outside. So definitely see your GP, definitely get an assessment. Don't hesitate to take care of yourself. Do whatever it is you need to do. Don't feel awkward about it. And I really do hope you stay tethered to us and show up. Go ahead and ask. If you're not already in both Facebook groups, go ahead and get in both Facebook groups. You can get support, as much support as you need, in both daily threads. You do not have to be running to get support from us. I designed it to be that way so that it doesn't feel punitive. If you're in maintain and life gets in the way, you get some chronic pain, you get an injury, and it's like, I have to drop down. We do not use that nomenclature ever. You are moving over. It is a lateral shift. It is neither up nor down. It is lateral from here to here to here. It's on an X-axis. Over time, you will be in every room and there will always be a space for you. So it is not weird. It never will be to be in any of my groups and be a runner not running. We are about to release a whole brand new set of support tools that I'm super excited about that will be part of the $30 a month base subscription into fitness protection. That will be additional help for you during those periods, but we're hoping, fingers crossed, God willing, that'll be coming in October. But I've said that before. So while we are waiting for those additional tools, extract all the value you can from the 2 Facebook groups, from asking questions, from showing up. I don't really care what you have to say as long as you're tethered to me and are saying something. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, and know that these are phases in the lifespan of a runner, and we are here for all of them. And there is absolutely nothing that we want more than to see you, feel like you can be supported, feel like you can say these things out loud, and know that you have us with you at your back. All right. Next question. What is the best way to adjust when I am legitimately not pushing it according to plan? Running 5 days a week, but doing bare minimum avocado toast 140, 3 of those days, meaning avocado toast, easy effort. Avocado toast is an easy effort run. heart rate of 140 or below with strides either in the middle or at the end. So anyway, back to, I just wanted to clarify that, but this person is now clarifying what they mean by not pushing it according to plan. Running 5 days a week, but doing bare minimum avocado toast 3 of those days because of busy work schedule.
The minimum ain't bare. I don't know if you've been listening to the morning mantra, but Sarah just touched on that last week.
Yeah, bare minimum. I'm not. The minimum is not bare to me. The minimum is a really happy place that I like because it is a guideline and it's giving you helpful information. And when you're on the side of it, you know that you're doing great. So anyway, getting back to the question. But then the person says, I had to cut my long run short because my foot was hurting. I feel like I overdid it today, my rest day. Should I take an extra rest day? Should I walk for a couple of runs? So the initial question is the question, what's the best way to adjust in a situation where you think, I'm not pushing it according to what the plan says, but also my foot hurts a little bit and I had to cut my long run short. How do I process that information? What do I do with it?
Okay, so the first thing that I would say is like the parent. If we have like an order of operations, then I guess we should create that visual. Tell the wayfinder, Kara, if you're here. Above all else, we want to keep moving forward. I don't care about the intensity. And I know it's hard not to because you came into this running game at a time when Garmin was dominating the conversation and corporations were as well. And people were obsessed with paces because for the first time ever, we had no idea how fast we were going when we were running around a track. We had no idea how fast we were going generally until we finished. And we would do a lot of our runs in a marked space, right? So it was like, okay, how long? We had the Timex Ironman, like here to here. Okay, that was 6 minutes and 40 seconds or whatever. But there was nothing in between those mile markers that gave you an indication. So we have now, because we've never had it before, it was a really big deal to get that. And that changed a lot. But unfortunately, it put a lot of emphasis on pace that had never existed before. It was just a really cool thing to have. It's like when the car came around and it's like, oh my God, we don't have to walk anywhere. And it's like, this will be the scourge of society. Radio came around. No one's reading anymore. They're listening to the radio. We're going to get stupid. Any new thing has become like social, and now it's social media or anything with the screen. It's like, it's making everyone stupid and no one has any friends and no one really connects. And I'm like, no, just no one listens to the same 2 or 3 gatekeepers and power players that existed before. Like, we're doing just fine. The vulnerable communities are doing great. We have more power than we've ever had. But I tell you all of that to tell you this. I know you've been conditioned to think that intensity is really important. It's not. So if you're not, I don't need you to push yourself ever. I just need you to move out the door. And the reason I need you to do that is because every time that we're even walking is effort that gets your heart rate up. And that will make your heart work a little bit. Again, it's good for your heart, and that's why we do it. It's not about burning calories or weight loss or effort. What I care about is that we're adding a little bit of a stimulus to your cardiovascular system that's going to make you somewhat more efficient at metabolizing oxygen, and you're a lot more likely to get that moving than not. So, but you said you have something going on with your foot. I don't know enough about it to say, but if it only really hurts when you run, then we really need to see a PT about it because we don't want this to be a recurring thing. But if you can walk without pain, then yes, do that. I understand that's less intense than running. And it's also not exactly the same as running. Ask any race walker. Like race walking is hard, by the way, because you have to have one foot on the ground at all times. And when you're running, most of the time you have both feet off the ground, which is very interesting. And it's a distinction. I actually got to talk to a race walking judge a couple weekends ago and got an earful about the semantic and actual differences between race walking and running, because I was just like, I really don't understand how a person could race walk a 6:30 mile. Like, that's insane to me. Like that just seems
seriously.
That seems like a hip destroyer. But anyway, which is, I just can't in my brain work out how that would happen. Which is not to say it's a bad idea. I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. It's so much faster than I walk. And when I'm walking like a 14-minute pace, that feels brisk and that hurts my shins. Which brings me to the final note. If we might want to loosen your shins up, go back to the first 2 moves. The foam rolling moves, I know you haven't seen them in a while. We do have a new document that's going to be coming out very soon. Thank you for your patience. But the first 2 moves, if you remember in my foam rolling series, one of them is just to get on top of the firmest, hardest foam roller you can find, back and forth. keeping your knees in between your elbows and all of your body's weight on top of the point where your shin hits the roller, and going all the way up to the knee, all the way down to the ankle. And then you cross one ankle over the other and do the bone saw, which is just the outside of the shin.
Captain Fleming. Oops, sorry.
I'm
looking. Yeah, I'm going on Coach MK's YouTube channel, and I am digging up some links to Coach MK doing her foam rolling series from the YouTube channel. So stay tuned. Those will be in the show notes. They'll be in Facebook comments. They'll be in Twitch comments. MK, please continue. Don't mind. Sorry about that.
Well, Sarah's going to send you some links, and then you just go take a look at the first two moves. Just ungluing your shins at that soft point between your shin and your ankle, the lower part of your leg, that has a lot to do with your foot mobility. So if your foot's getting sticky in some way, or if you're having a lot of flare-ups of plantar fasciitis, though it sounds counterintuitive, one of the best things you could possibly do for your feet is to go unglue your shins. Because I've said it before, say it again. If you ever got a manicure, if you're watching on the live stream, you can probably see what I'm about to do. If you're hearing some podcast later, bless your heart. Just this is somewhere on the YouTube channel too. But if you've ever got a manicure, one of their favorite things to do is like pull down here and make your fingers move, because I can't even do it well. I've had that my day has been that long, you guys. There you go. There we go. So as you see, the closer I get to my wrist, the more pronounced it is, the movement. I'm not consciously doing that. That's just happening from how I'm rubbing all the tendons. So the tendons that make your fingers move attach once at the wrist and a second time at your elbows. The same thing happens with the phalanges at the bottom of your feet. Yes, your little toes are connected to things that go up to your ankles and then connect again at the knee. So it's really important to mobilize this area right here. I get it in front of both cameras. Yay! From here to the base of where this muscle pops up when you flex real hard. That area from here to here, that moving smoothly is critical to good things happening with your feet. So you can be doing all the intensity in the world. If you are not mobilizing, you're really not doing yourself any good in the long run. So I'm sorry that you've been that you're in a point where you're having to be, your running journey is slightly interrupted. Stay tethered to us, take care of yourself, and do not worry about missing the intensity. I don't ever need anyone pushing themselves. It's so the opposite of what I do. I will give you more work when you're ready for more work, when it's time for more work, when you think there might be a payoff for more work. I will not ever push you or encourage you to do more work, because easy effort is terrific. I did it for a really long time, and I will not hesitate to go do that again.
Yay. And I just want to say, so I just put a couple of links in both the Twitch comments and the Facebook comments if you are listening live. And if you just go on Coach MK's YouTube channel and you search foam rolling, you are going to find a lot of great stuff, because once upon a time when life was less crazy and there wasn't mold falling on your head,
right?
You did some regular foam rolling on Twitch, and all of that has been harvested to your YouTube channel, and it really is super important. And one more thing, if you were in Rebuild 2 months ago, I believe it was July, Wednesday, July circuit for Rebuild was all about the feet. Mm-hmm. And remember, we did a lot of foot exercises that involved little tiny movements that were also involving shin muscles. We had a lot of things going on. All of that stuff is interconnected. That foot circuit from the Wednesday strength of July Rebuild is really, really, really awesome. And if you were not in Rebuild in July, please email me, Coach Sarah at coachtolove.com. I will dig up a video for you from Rebuild Wednesday, July, and I will send it to you, and you should really give that circuit a try. Lots of really good foot stuff. I'm happy to share that. Unless
we could also probably make one of the videos at least public on YouTube now.
Yeah, actually, we probably, I can download it from Facebook, and we could do that.
Sure.
Or I can do a new one, because it's really good, and I should keep doing it too.
I know, it was amazing. I loved watching you do those. That was when you really started getting your owning this whole live streaming thing. It was like Coach Sarah has grown, y'all. It's been growth. It's been amazing to watch her sort of blossom in front of the camera these past few months. But July was when you really started to be like, all right, guys, you were talking at the camera. You were like, camera 1, camera 2. I'm watching this one now, and I'm looking at the right place. And it was just like a transformation. I felt, I guess, because you'd already turned in your notice at Harvard, and it's like the end is in sight. And you just I was like, they don't need me anymore. Go, Sarah. This is awesome.
Well, thank you. That I enjoyed July a lot. I really did feel like, yes, I was coming towards, I knew I was leaving. I knew I was coming to do this full time, and it felt really exciting and momentous. And also when toe yoga showed up on the the Rebuild Strength Circuits, I was like, toe yoga, you know what? I know how to do that. That is something that my PT taught me, so that it is burned into me forever. And I was very excited to teach everybody. And it seemed like people really liked it. So as I said, at the end of July, just because it is no longer your homework in August and September, you should definitely keep doing this. And I stand by that. And so that is it for Rebuild. We can move on now. Yay. These videos, by the way, will be up in the Facebook groups tomorrow morning. And as Coach MK said a little bit ago, we have our wonderful audio editor who we love so much transforming this into a podcast. So you'll be able to listen back.
Yeah, and the links will be in the show notes of the podcast. And the show notes will also be, because I understand a lot of you use podcast players where the links don't come through. I've heard that feedback. So now I've started making a concerted effort to push the questions, the links. And until we can't do complete transcripts of the longer podcasts just yet, those are a lot of money. But we do intend to get there. Between now and then, we will be putting everything on the blog. So if you go to coachedandloved.com and go scroll all the way down to the page, you'll see the word blog, or just coachedandloved.com/blog and register on the site. You can register with a Google account or register with Facebook. Do either or both. I don't really care. There's no such thing as too many accounts. That doesn't mean you're going to get snowed with emails necessarily, because then I have to remember to go in and clean everything out. That never happens, y'all. So to that end, if you go in and join the site, you can make comments. You can ask it. You can follow up. You can ask us for other things. If you engage, we are going to be doing a lot more with that blog. So log in to become a member of the, it costs nothing. It's just a free little gateway. Become a member and you will get notifications when new blog posts go up and when you podcast with all the show notes and all the links come out.
Yay. It's so awesome. I've been loving updating the blog more often. I've been putting all of the transcripts for the Morning Manager podcast that I've been doing up on the blog as well. Good. So if you like reading, because you're, for whatever reason, your kid gets mad at you when you put on a podcast while you're cooking dinner. Not that I know what that's like at all.
No, not your truth.
Definitely not what I'm living at the moment. All right. So here we are. Oh, and I hear somebody yelling at somebody, and that is not great. But
it is not yelling at you. They are not yelling. That is not your problem. Not right now.
Exactly. All right. Moving on to maintain. Our first question in maintain is.
Oh, before we go there, can we give a big shout out for Carissa?
My gosh, Carissa and Stacy. Carissa, Hatley, and Stacy.
I missed that. What happened to Stacy?
She had an amazing race today, and she totally wasn't expecting to. But she ran a huge PR, even though yesterday she was like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't do it. I'm not feeling that great. And we were all like, hey, man, this is, you haven't rearranged your life for this race. So whatever happens, happens. She was like, you're right. And then what happened was she had an amazing time, and she really, really crushed it. And so both Carissa and Stacy, we are so proud of you. Carissa also had an amazing race today. She PR'd every distance over the course of a half marathon.
I know all of these. I'm going to share. I'm going to have to put that up on Instagram, because when you see that.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into pace worship here by any stretch of the imagination. At the same time, I don't want to not celebrate when someone has a good day, because that good day might make someone else feel less than. So we're finding different ways. If you've noticed in the weekly mail outs, whoever's winning at life is not necessarily the fastest person that we can find. But when you have something you want to celebrate, we will all celebrate with you. When we go through and handpick winners, we are not specifically seeking to pick the fast kids or trying to bend over backwards to find something good to say, because we don't have to. There's a lot of good there that most people just miss. I love the fact that not one but two people have YOLO'd half marathons. They've just been really consistent. And I can say all day that consistency matters more than anything else. And you're not going to hear it, but you will hear it when people show up and it blows their own minds. The final thing I'll say about that is that my elite client, I call him Grumpy Cat and he has earned that name, y'all. I'm telling you, he did not have a good work. I think he might have had the cycle before he ran 241 in Houston. He might have had 3 runs that he was proud of. Everything else was that sucks. I don't feel good. This isn't going well. I'm not doing well. And I've learned in the 3.5, 4 years I've been coaching him not to feed that. Because if I respond, then it just prolongs it. Whereas if I say nothing, he'll move past it to the next round, and I'd rather him be mad at me for not responding than mad at me for not trying to blow sunshine up his rear end, or mad at me for not blowing sunshine up his rear. You know what I mean? Like when someone's in that arguing mood, there's nothing you can say that's right. So I defer and say nothing. But he wasn't having a good day. He wasn't having a good training cycle. He wasn't having a good anything when he showed up and ran a 10-minute PR at an already insanely fast time. Yeah. I mean, 2:41, like that. Wow. Not to say I didn't think he could do it, but I'm like, man, the stars would have to align for this to happen. And they did. And he woke up that morning, texted me and said, my stomach doesn't feel good. I'm going to go ahead and start. Might as well because we're here. But I don't expect to finish, and it's okay. I'm going to be okay. And he's never talked to me that way before. So I was like, oh, he's going to die. What does that mean? I was really worried. He has never tried to reassure me of anything other than that one time. Then he turned around and he just started running and didn't stop till he crossed the finish line. So there's something to be said for that. When I talk about mental toughness, when I think about mental strength, it's being able to take your head out of that game of trying to set your expectations down. Once you've truly let them go, it's amazing what can happen. Those 2 times I ran New York and I didn't know what to expect. They weren't my best times, but I felt fantastic and I was so happy, and like nothing will ever take that away from me. And I think that there's something to be said for that too. If we can just take the expectations off somehow and take away like, I need to do this, this, and this, because I promise if you're doing that and focusing on everything mile by mile, you're looking at it wrong, then great things will continue to happen. And I love that it happened for not 1, but 2 of our maintainers this weekend. This sort of thing is not something you train specifically for. It's what you get when you don't stop.
That's right. That's exactly right. And we've had some pretty cool maintained victories along these lines as well. And in every case, it's just people who have not always had their day. Stacey Clark ran a marathon the same cycle that I did a couple years ago. And it was 2017. We had the most humid, crazy start to fall in the Northeast, and nobody who raced in the Northeast got good weather for their beginning of October races. And she ran a really smart race, but she didn't have her day. She didn't have her day, and she was really cool about it. She took it in stride. But anyway, Stacey, I'm so glad to be training with you. I'm so glad to have you with us. I am so happy that you had such a great, great, great day today. Yay. You hung in there, and that is amazing. And Carissa, oh gosh, your excitement and your glee when you posted today, it just it fills my heart. It makes me so happy. So yay, both.
Mine too. PRs aren't everything, but you know what? They're good, and we're not going to knock them.
Yeah, and being able to say I did that. Yeah, right.
And doing it without crazy intensity, without driving yourself nuts, without staring at your Garmin with every lap around a track, without worrying if you worked hard enough, without trying to train to a time, which is all the stuff I tell you not to do. Again, this is all the things you think you need to do are incorrect, which is not to say that you suck, but it's letting go of those things does not mean letting go of the goal of the dream. I've never told anyone you need to let go of your goals or your dreams. What I do say is you've got to stop trying to, it's like a baby bird. And all you need to do is not choke it in your hand.
Yeah.
and it's going to live.
Totally. Yeah. I'm so proud, and I'm so excited for everything that's going on for both of those people. Yay.
So sorry, questions.
All right. Anyway, questions. Yes. Yeah, no, we got really excited, rightfully so. First question. Hi, coaches. Thanks for all the love and encouragement. Can you talk a bit more about the cool down? How slow should it be? Does it have to be under 140? I'm curious about how the magic happens here. Maybe that could be a topic for a longer podcast. I'm really asking because I don't want to tack 16 minutes of super slow onto Monday's workout.
I feel you. Well, I don't want to spend 16 minutes talking about the physiological benefits of the cool down because it's still not going to sell you on it. What I can't tell you is this. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make
hashtag not sexy.
I mean, the unsexy work. So when it comes to training, when it comes to improvement, when it comes to improved efficiency or economy and physiological function, what we're trying to do is have your body do something abnormal, like go a little bit faster than it normally does, and then go back to rest. That's why interval training, I remember I've said it's not about how fast you go during the hard portion. It's about how you rest the way we mean to. I'm not, when I make the workout up, I'm not making it up around the hard portions. Sometimes I just pull those out of my rear end. What I'm calculating are the recovery intervals and what I need you to get. So the crux of the workout is that recovery interval and how that's going to parlay into you getting what you need out of the cool down. So the cool down is so important. It's where I start with the workout. In any workout, harder and not so hard, like all of the workouts, making sure that you have enough of that. So why the cool down matters is because it is one thing, when you are working at 140 or below, then you are not working so hard that your body is in panic mode. So anything over 140 is definitely work. You're going to be seeing quote unquote improvements in traditional type of places that you'd be looking for them. Yes, but we can't do very much work there. What all the good stuff that happens at 140 or less is that you're recovering while you're moving, because up to 98% of the oxygen in your blood can be diverted directly to your muscles for the purpose of recovery when your body is moving. That's another reason why walking is better than nothing at all. Your body is repairing itself while it moves. It's getting more efficient while it moves. So to that end, once we've done a series of intervals and we've gotten all we need out of those recovery intervals, then your heart we're trying to play with your adrenal gland, which maintains homeostasis. We freak it out and then we bring it back down to homeostasis. And then we freak it out and then we bring it back down to homeostasis. And then we freak it out, we bring it back to homeostasis, then we hang while your body. So if you think of it as that cool down, it's time for your body to adjust to the new normal and all the oxygen that it just took in. That is why the cool down matters. And that is why the cool down is the most powerful part of the workout. You will see it argued in places like Runner's World, in the journal, in JAMA, which is like the journal of sports medicine. You will see, or applied medical, I forget what it stands for. It's not in English. But if you follow sports medicine, you're going to see a lot of back and forth about it, because but the question that they're trying to answer is, what do we do in a person that's as fit as they could possibly be, i.e. Steph Bruce Rothstein, i.e. Ben Rosario, i.e. Shalane Flanagan, like the pro athletes that are as fit as they could possibly be without that, like the only way they could probably get fitter would be to blood dope, and they're not going to do, like all the people I just named are never going to do that. That's where doping comes in and allows them to artificially do more and get more, like when you've maxed out, when you're doing everything right and you've maxed everything out. Most of us, all of us, are not there yet. We got a ways. Oops, sorry, that's my computer. For most of us, for all of us, we got a ways to go before we get that fit. So we are still getting something out of the cool down. If you're reading something that says that the cool down isn't that important, it's the 16 minutes versus 20 minutes versus 35 minutes in the cool down is less important a question the fitter an athlete. But pretty much all of us in these programs, we get a lot out of the cool down. So we need to keep doing it.
All right. I always like hearing those answers. I know you're right that it's not terribly sexy, but I still feel like I learned something from that I hadn't necessarily put together before.
Well, that's because all the research is happening, and research only happens when there's funding. Are people paying to figure out how much of a cool down hobby joggers need? No, they're just happy to get us out moving, because fat phobia is a thing and you see it everywhere. And it's like, what can we do to get people to move? So to that end, like the people that are doing the research and asking the questions are trying to elicit better performances out of, people who are representing this country at the Olympics and whatnot. And to my knowledge, I'm not training anyone that falls into that category right now. If you're going to the Olympics and you're in the fitness protection program, tell me, because I'm not talking to you.
Let us know. Roz is going to say one final good night, and then she's going to go up to bed. Right, Roz? You say one last good night?
Good night, Al. Can you say good night?
Good night, Roz. Good night, Princess Anna. Good night, Queen Elsa.
Oh, there we go. They got their good night. Okay. I love you. Good
night, Mr. Dr. Coach Sarah.
Yes, we got one last visit there, a little bonus.
Yay.
Okay. Back to headphones and on to the next question. Hi, I was wondering if you can talk more about the concept of power with running, which you have mentioned in the past. I've been running by heart rate for about 2.5 years, but only since beginning fitness protection have been better about consistently doing my strength training. Thank you for this format that keeps it interesting but still approachable. Yay, you're welcome. I am not worried about pace anymore, but I do worry about my heart rate being so high on my runs, and I wonder if I will make some progress with this now that I'm more dedicated to strength training. I'm in the strength beta now. Just wanted to hear about the science behind this concept and understand it better. Thanks.
So the whole notion of power has been around for cyclists for a really long time. And the reason it mattered for cyclists is because we had all kinds of research that happened. The biggest sport for a really long time was cycling. Sure, you lived through it. And it was the idea of VAM. I forget what that's Italian. You should know that one, Coach Sarah. That's one of the Italian metrics in training.
Shit, I'll Google it.
I forget what VAM stands for, but it's basically what it is and the purpose that it serves. It's how we normalize power on hills. So when we compare one hill to the other and we don't have good, clean slope calculating information, what we can do is we look at an athlete and we see the first time you did this workout, how much power did you have to generate to while going up the hill, and how much did you recover coming down the hill, like what that differential was. And then when you do the same workout, the chances of you doing it in the same place were usually pretty low. VAM was how we standardized those hills. So, one might be like a crazy slope and really long, and you had to keep going up. Others, you know what I mean? Trying to find two hills that are exactly the same is pretty hard. So that was where initially when we were getting power, we were taking into effect each push of a leg, trying to push a body on a bike up a mountain. So what that has to do with running, we have not had good ways to measure this for a really long time. It came out 2 years ago, Stride, STRYD, the Stride pod. I run with one. It's good. They're like $250. And I see the question in Twitch. I'm going to come back to you in just a minute. Trim 7, I promise. But what the reason that we cared about in runners, I would argue that as a metric, for road runners, it is only marginally useful. If you are new to running, if you are new to the concept of running by feel, if you've never been allowed to tune into your body and truly feel what's going on, if you've just been told that you're weak and lazy and fat and you need to get over it, then you probably running by feel is not going to come naturally. You feel guilty while you do it. All of that's real. And if you've been really fit before and you're coming back to fitness after a long period away and your body is not ready enough to do or fit enough to do the things that it used to do to match the neuropatterning in your body, then power can be very helpful. So a lot of the times my heart rate will be fine, but my pace will be too fast. And that's a good thing. That's a good problem to have, but it's not helpful when you end up outrunning your workout. And if you remember when I ran Jack and Jill downhill marathon in 2016 and had to DNF, my heart rate was just fine. I couldn't get GPS signal. There weren't a lot of mile markers, or at least there were, I missed them. So I had no idea how fast I was going until I was at mile 7 at like 51 minutes in. It was like, this was not ever going to be a 3-hour marathon. Not today. I just blew it. And I knew I was done, and I just hung on for as long as I could, and then I was toast. All that to tell you this, the concept of critical power is something that we're looking for in bikers and in runners. It is less important with people that train at our level, but that's the science of it. Critical power gives you an idea, better than like threshold, pace or heart rate. It gives you an idea of when you're going to hit that point of fatigue, and it's going to start, you're going to be getting more tired more quickly. It's going to be increasing the fatigue is going to be increasing at an increasing rate from that point forward. For me, that number right now is as a critical power of 203. So 3 kilograms per watt. So that is why it exists and why I find it helpful. My coach Tia, we had a long talk about the Stride because her training partner is obsessed with it. Tia is an elite. Tia is amazing. Like, I want to be Tia when I grow up. Tia does not need a Stride. And if Tia decides she wants to go trail running and needs something to sort of normalize, one workout to the next, sure, a Stride could be really helpful for Tia. But outside of that use case, I cannot think of one for Tia. For most of my runners, if you want to go buy it, I'm not going to say no. But how do you use it? For me, at a time when I can't feel very much, or I can't feel heart rates because on days when air is really bad, Power is super, super, super consistent. So if I aim for a certain power range or a certain power figure, it's going to be a lot less variable than my heart rate at this point in my fitness journey, and more than likely in yours too. Do you need it? Most of us can do just fine without it, but those are the cases where I find it really valuable for me for where I am right now. Will I find it as valuable a year from now? Shrug. I don't know. Because when you're a road racer, final thought here, it's very, very different than being a triathlete or a bike racer, because where you go with a bike can be, and frequently is, places you cannot go with a car. Road racing is made for roads, which were made for cars. So wherever you're running is a place a car can go. And even if you have a couple of steep hills here or there, the chances of you having those hills on race day are next to none, especially in a race where you're going to be running for time, hoping to hit one of those arbitrary qualifying time goals for whatever race. So would you need a stride to get ready for that? No, because it's not going to be there in your race. If it helps you learn to run by feel, absolutely. Can we learn to run by feel without it? Absolutely. Did that really kind of answer it? I mean, I know it's a lot. It's loaded. It's like, I don't want to diss on it, especially since I use it. But final note, if you can't afford the pod, you can't afford power. And I say that again lovingly. This is one of the reasons why I don't want to make you guys go buy expensive gadgets. Power calculated from your wrist is not accurate. Power calculated from your wrist is not accurate. It's doing math. It's not accurate. It is only accurate when it's coming from your foot, because that little chip that sits on top of your foot is measuring the force generated every time your foot hits the ground.
Yeah. And the only two things I have to add are, one, you're correct. VAM is an Italian term, and it stands for Velocità Ascensionale Media, which means average ascent speed.
Yep.
I did not know that at all, but apparently no one has expanded the acronym beyond the Italian. And you would have to blow up the acronym, because in Italian, they put the adjective after the noun, and we don't do that in English. Kept it at VAM, and I like that. The second thing is, I have been training with heart rate for a long time. Arguably, as we talked about in the Tube of Toothpaste podcast, there might be some benefit to me to go and getting a foot pod to know about power. I would like to honestly come out and say right now that I have less than no desire to do that. It doesn't, and that's not to say anything against anyone who does. Like, I think we all are either interested in certain things or we're not. And that's one of the things where I'm interested to look into myself and say, like, I love Strava. I love my Training Peaks. I love looking at my data in Training Peaks. I feel like I have enough data. I don't feel like I need this one other thing, and I'm not sure what I would learn from it. And maybe that will change. I don't know. But it's totally. If
you were all over the place, you are steady as a clock. If you were all over the place, I would be like, okay, power, because this heart rate thing is not working. Okay, pace isn't helping. That's when I would, I can't think of a good use case for you. Like, there are other things we could do with $250. Go get a massage.
Oh, yes, please. Okay, that's settled now. I'm going to get a massage. I'm not getting a power pod.
Do it.
But I love hearing these things. I love hearing these discussions. I think I always, again, every time you answer a question like this, and we've had people ask us about power before, but the answer is always contains something that I didn't pick up on last time. And I can listen to you talk about power all day and find it really interesting. And I also don't feel like I would learn anything about myself from going out and buying a thing. So just in case anyone is like hearing this and thinking like, oh, should I care about this? There's no should about it. That's all I meant to say.
It's not a bad thing if you do care. Like, more data is only more better if you're learning about those data points and understanding how they synthesize and work with other data points. When I the guy that I ran with this morning, if you see my run on Strava, did you see my run on Strava?
I did not see your run on Strava. I'm going to go look right now.
Oh my God.
Can't wait.
So I've started running with the pacer because my muscles feel really, 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 really good. And my body, my tendons, joints, and ligaments is not ready to go at the pace that my muscles want to. If you have not watched the video of my most recent coaching call with TA on the YouTube channel, again, there's no need to. She and I talked about this in not great detail, but she's like, it's a really good sign, but you got to be careful not to overdo it. So when my heart rate will be just fine, but my body is not ready to go like really balls out yet. So having power is just another way to keep me in check. And running with Abby is the other way to really efficiently keep me in check, because he too is steady as a clock and he runs with power. But there'll be moments where I'm like, this feels a little fast. And he's like, okay, well, my power is 177. So we're still in your range 2. And I'm like, we're in your range 1, aren't we? And he's like, yeah, my heart rate's 115. And I'm like,
God, that's like my best running friend, Lisa, is anytime we run together, her average heart rate guaranteed will be 10, 15 beats lower than me.
Yeah.
And that's, and I adore
that's the difference, right? Like our pace is the same. Mm-hmm. Our power is the same, but our heart rates are different.
Yeah.
So if you added power to that, would it be, as we get more efficient, so like we start the run at 132, we're under 140. But then like all of a sudden we're at 9-minute, 30-second miles and my heart rate's starting to creep up because we've hit my critical power and it's starting to soar. And he has to be like, back off, back off, back off. Mm-hmm. Today, I was able to hold back all the way till about halfway through the run. And then you can see that was not an intentional negative split. So if you look at my pace chart, it's more like I'm drawing it if you're listening to the podcast. It is not a stair step.
Right now. I'll link to it in Facebook and Twitch.
I kept having to slow down. He would be like, this is too much. This is too much. You really can't feel this. This is too much. This is too much. Just in his very quiet voice every 3 minutes or so. And I'm like, oh, but I was really ready to go. So it was a terrific run, but that's one use of power where he was like, okay, we're going to try this. Because I just kept getting away from myself. He was like, all right, we're going to try this. I have a power screen. So all I can see is my power band and my watch will like beep and vibrate at me. So he turned all that functionality on, threw my watch back at me. And he was like, let's do this now. Unfortunately, my critical power had increased from the last time he had seen it. So it wasn't going off in time. And he was like, all right, well, my watch is beeping. We're slowing down. So again, that's a long way of saying that's the use case for me right now because I can't feel anything. But I also know that I can't run 9:30s for 13 miles. I will have to stop and walk like I did last week. So we tried something different this week and it worked.
Looks like a great run. I'm really happy for you. That's awesome. Yay. All right. Next question. Yay, yes. Maintain. I will be part of a road relay race in October. I volunteered for the hilly 6-mile section. What strength exercises would help me get ready for this? I know it would be helpful to practice running on hills, but what kind of workouts should I do on the hills? Replace the Monday, Wednesday harder stuff with hilly workouts? Thank you so much.
I would go find like the hardest hills in your race and try replicating those on your long runs. That's going to be the first thing. Even if that slows you down on your long runs, to go up those hills, you're going to be looking at VAM, you're going to be generating more power than you would running downhill because, again, you need more force to push your body up the hill. And that more force is effectively like adding a weight to a dumbbell or to a barbell, rather, like a weight on each end of the dumbbell. So, yes, it's going to be running. That's why uphill running is harder. I am not a huge fan of hill repeats. I don't like assigning them to very many of my runners. I know they are a staple but remember, everything's easy when you're already fit, which is not to say that this person we're talking to, I don't know who we're talking to, but not to say that this person isn't, but rather, and that's why I wanted to do this anonymously so it didn't feel like a kick in the face. Well, it's like, well, she thinks I'm not strong enough. Like, I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't even give DJ my 241 marathoner hill repeats yet. There will come a point in the cycle when I will, but we're not there yet. But all that just to say that like the best way to use hills to your advantage is to get really, 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 really used to them, to know how much you need to slow down and how much you can push to recover. Because the hardest thing about a hill, it's not blowing your load as you come down the hill. It's truly slowing down and recovering and just using gravity and coasting as you come down the hill. And then knowing when you've hit Flatlandia after that, if there happens to be a flat section after the hill. I can't tell you how many people like sail downhill and then try to keep the pace going, not realizing they're on flats. And then all of a sudden, boom, they like hit the wall and they're like, oh, I'm really tired. Well, that's because you didn't slow down on the flat place. So it's learning the nuances of the hills, I think, is more valuable to race performance than anything else. But if we want to get stronger first, I would not do it through running. I would get on a Bosu ball. I would do anything that recruits your glutes. I would do it barefoot on the hard side of the Bosu ball. I would get barefoot on the soft side of the Bosu ball. Bosu Booty #1 is still one of the best circuits I've ever seen. Full credit to Alex Lanton of Atlas Physical Therapy over in Stapleton here in Denver for coming up with it. But it's moguls, wibble. So I called it wibble wobble, round the world, and straight squats. That 1 minute of each continuously. And ask us in the Facebook groups, and we'll get the circuit to you. But that is and will always be one of the best ways to strengthen your glutes. And then from there, we need to talk about isometric and eccentric strength for your quads. So, because it's one thing going up the hill, but then again, coming down the hill, you got to be sitting into your glutes and making sure that you're not overbearing your knees. Because it should feel, running downhill, if it's a steep downhill, it should feel kind of like riding a tricycle. It's very unnatural. You could fall forward at any moment. But when you're doing that, you're not putting pressure on your lower back, which is what most people do. They end up generating too much power and burning out sooner because they didn't know what they were doing. They had a lot of strength and did not know how to moderate that critical power over time, which we can learn to do without a stride pod. But the way we do it is by getting on hills a lot and knowing exactly how to approach any hill that you come near.
Mm-hmm. Do we want to say anything about high knees at the end of a run? Might that be a good thing to add in for a little extra strength?
Right? Jumping rope, high knees up a hill. Jumping rope for 5 minutes is a metabolic equivalent of a 20-minute tempo run, which does not mean you need to be going and doing 5 minutes of jumping rope every day. It just means that jumping rope is incredibly good for you. And in a lot of the programs that I've written in the past and a lot of the ones that I'm going to be doing in the future, you will see jump rope, again, usually thrown in at the end of a run as just a little boost that will replace or sometimes come along with accelerators. So to that end, if you can throw in some jumping rope, I say do it. It's great for you. But just like anything else, it can be overdone, and too much of a good thing is a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say 1 minute at the end. I mean, 5 minutes of jumping rope in a week, that's 1 minute at the end of your run.
You remember when you did it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, and we went through in the previous iteration of monthly plans, there was 1 month we were doing a minute of jump rope, and then we progressed to a minute of high knees. Then we progressed to a minute of hill bounding at the end of the run, just 5 days a week. And that really added up. And you talked to us at the end of the month about how many tempo runs we had just done by virtue of doing 1 minute of that stuff at the end of a run several times. It was pretty cool.
Yay.
All right. We have one last question in Maintain. And then we have a question in the Twitch chat,
yes,
which we will get to. So the last question submitted for Maintain is this. For the last few weeks, my body has felt great, but my legs feel heavy. Heart rate stays low, but I find myself wanting to walk, especially easy runs. What gives? Any explanation? Will this just pass? Love the workouts and ready to start the marathon ramp. All suggestions welcome.
Yay. Hormones. What I'm hearing are hormones, combination of hormones and nutrition, which is going to make you feel more tired. There's a concept of estrogen dominance. And mind you, the wellness industry right now lives in a gap between the medical community and what we can standardize and test for, and the evidence-based nutritional therapies that we know to be valid. So somewhere in between the two comes all the hormone things, which again are really, really, really hard to standardize. And it's something, to be perfectly frank, the medical community didn't care about too much until maybe the 80s or 90s, when all of a sudden the numbers of women doctors outstripped the ranks of men doctors. No offense to men, just saying. The difference between talking to my mother's gynecologist, which I've had to do before, and my own is like,
yeah.
Like there was a time women could participate in the long jump for 40 years, 40 years of long jumping and triple jumping at the Olympics. And we still can run a marathon, because if we ran anything more than 800 meters, our uterus might fall out. What do you think is harder on your uterus, jumping or running more than 800 meters?
Seriously.
Which is going to produce more power? Come on. So, I say that not to specifically poo on doctors, but just to say that there's for a really long time, lady business was considered not science, not medicine. And we're finally entering a place where we're having these conversations. And when you Google what you feel, you're going to go down a rabbit hole of like estrogen dominance and this and that. And then you're going to mention to your doctor, I think I have adrenal fatigue, maybe some estrogen. Is the progesterone still happening? And the doctor is going to say, what the F are you talking about? Get off those blogs. And it doesn't matter who you're talking to. So when the best way to approach what you're kind of feeling right now, I would grab Roar by Stacey Sims and start following some of what she says, especially if you're pre or perimenopausal. Like it is super helpful that exactly what she says to do, because as we enter that phase of life, our nutritional needs do sharply change based on our hormones. The things that we did when we were younger, like the carb crescendo, is one of the worst things you can do if you're menopausal. So when it comes to, so that's step one. Once you kind of get locked into something that works, that in turn will help your sleep a lot, because nothing will throw your hormones off more and faster than sleep deprivation. So what I'm hearing in your question sounds like a combination of the three, of hormones, probably not enough sleep, and something nutritional, which is not to say that like go eat some hamburger and you're going to feel better, but it could be really simple. Like maybe you're anemic. And if you're somewhat anemic right now, great, a medical doctor can tell you that. And then you start doing whatever your doctor tells you to do, something like with magnesium and vitamin C added to it, so that you get that quick burst, that quick metalysis because you can't just take iron in isolation. You'll get constipated. You have to add magnesium and vitamin C to it for it to be fully absorbed. So to that end, once you start doing that, you can feel better in as quickly as like 80% better in like 24 hours. So that's how I would approach it. I would schedule an appointment with the GP, ask for a blood test, see what's going on. If it is low iron, that's easy. While you wait on the blood test results, go start reading Roar by Stacey Sims and seeing what sort of little changes, not huge, we don't have to like go, measuring every single bite we put in our bodies and stressing out too much, but just go read the guidelines and see if there's some best practices we can start incorporating that would make things become a little more natural and sleep become a little bit better. So before I had surgery, before I saw my GP and found out that the reason I felt terrible was a gigantic tumor growing on my right ovary, I had been following the principles in Roar and working with someone to help me through that. And it made a huge difference. It wasn't 100% of it, but it made a huge noticeable difference.
Yeah, it's really valuable. I've heard a lot of people saying great things about Roar. I've heard it come up on a couple of running podcasts and I listen to, and on Twitter and various places where the authorities hang out, like Twitter, which really, there's lots of stuff to be completely ignored on Twitter. And there are lots of experts who actually do use that as their platform. And Stacey Sims' book has been, it seems, very thoroughly applauded by a lot of people. So hope that you find some useful stuff in there.
All of whom are doctors that also say, you know what, we don't have a lot of good research in women. It's always men, because we know women and men are different. So we would only, because I'm a man and I was paying for the study, or it just became men were the standard and women weren't paying attention to. Stacey is a scientist, a doctor, a physiologist who is like, you know what, I'm going to do this differently and I'm going to base it on me. I'm not a small man. I'm a woman.
Yeah. Love it. All right. We have a question in the Twitch chat, and I'm going to let you read that question out. Yay, Alex Fleming, your Rebuild Rockstar crew loves you back. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
I love you, sweetheart.
Love it whenever you, yes, and that's Mr. MK. Love it whenever you come in and comment on the Rebuild Strength videos. It makes Roz and me feel very loved.
He's doing Rebuild.
I love that he's doing Rebuild. That makes me so happy. We have such an all-star crew in Rebuild, and it's amazing. I don't see any questions as of right now in the Facebook chat, but I will keep an eye on it while you address this question in Twitch.
Okay. Trim7. I felt like heart rate training runs short in my stride in order to run a slow enough pace and maintain under 140. Could this cause hamstring tendinopathy? Running more slowly, possibly, but no, not likely. Anything is possible, but the likelihood, if you were telling me that you were having issues with your calves or with your feet or with your knees, I would say okay, yeah, that can happen when we slow down, but that's not the slow running. That's lack of strength that you've been overcompensating for. So it's not like I created a brand new problem by slowing you down. It's a problem that always been there that we weren't able to see until you slowed down, when those large muscle groups weren't overtaking the smaller ones to sort of force you through a workout. Hamstring tendinopathy, it's complicated. It is really complicated. But broadly and generally speaking, the hamstrings, there are 3 of them. That's why it's plural. But there are 3 muscles that work in concert, and there are 3 small muscles that work in concert. They should almost never be overloaded. Weak hamstrings are almost never a diagnosable problem. It is so rare, in fact, that it is far more likely that the issue is not coming from like your hamstrings. They're a support muscle, basically. They're only overloaded, and the tendons only are truly in pain if your glutes are not recruited, if they're not showing up, if they're not engaging the way they're supposed to. And by the glutes, we don't mean the maximus, we mean the minimus and medius on the sides. And that's all of the exercises in Rebuild and Maintain are geared towards making sure that those muscles are recruited and firing at all cylinders at all times. So that's more, I would see a PT to rule it out completely, but it is highly unlikely that jogging would cause hamstring tendinopathy, ischial tuberosity tendinopathy, or any sort of issues stemming from that area. I've been running for 30 plus years without significant injury, and just tried heart rate based training over the past 9 months. Were you in my programs? Of course, I'm also menopausal and experiencing some muscle changes. That is a lot. Menopause is a lot more likely to be part of it, because what happens in menopause is similar to what was happening when I had this tumor on my right ovary. My body was producing way too much estrogen because it couldn't sense the amount of progesterone that was being. Doesn't really matter. It was out of balance, and it was a balance that we could not restore because of the presence of the tumor. I was producing way too much relaxin, like ridiculous amounts of the laxity in my muscles and my joints that was still present 20 months after the birth of my 4th and final child is gone now. 100% gone. I have no laxity. It's here 6 weeks after surgery. I got cleared last week, which it just boggles the mind. So when your body is producing too much estrogen, that is inhibiting muscle production. It is inhibiting muscle performance. You're not able to generate as much critical power. It's effectively like your muscles are effectively non-responsive. Do read Grrr by Stacy Sims. She talks about this and how, I remember one of the not tricks, but one of the things in the book that you need to do before and after a run to sort of combat those estrogen changes is to have a small portion of protein before the workout and a small portion after the workout. Exactly what size, I don't remember. Go read the book to find out. But that's one thing that very good friend of mine who's a cyclist, a competitive cyclist, like not professional, but let's be clear, she cares a lot about performance. I got her reading Stacy Sims. She started incorporating a lot of her menopause strategies. And 2 months later, she's like, I am transformed. I am fine.
Wow.
So that's how big of a deal. Yeah, I know. So, I mean, that's why I can't, poo on wellness. Like I'm well aware that when I say like adrenal fatigue, what a doctor is going to say, because they've said it to me too. At the same time, if medical science was able to do and diagnose everything, wellness as an industry wouldn't exist. So there's something to some of it. And the best place to start while you wade through it is to start with a medical doctor like Stacy Sims, reading her book Roar, incorporating those therapies, and then like moving from there. That's based on what I'm hearing, especially knowing you're menopausal. That's exactly where I would start, because it is, again, if you're not kicking a ball, if you're not jumping a lot, if you're not a steeple-chaser, it is, hamstring issues based off of overuse. Well, they're rare enough that I don't think it's coming from the running.
Yeah. Hope that was really helpful. I loved hearing that answer. That was really fascinating.
Thank you.
And I do not see any questions in Facebook except, Karen Schluter. Hi, Karen Schluter.
Hi, Karen.
Be thinking about sharing Rebuild with my nephew. He's coming back from breaking his pelvis. He's a runner, but nervous, of course, about running and coming back too soon. Here Alex is, so thinking he'd feel comfortable. I wasn't sure how many men. Thanks much. His name is Chance. I'll pass on the info. Yay, Chance, come run with us.
We have more men than you
do strength. Yeah,
we have more men in there than you would think. They just don't all join the Facebook groups that often. So yeah, men, bring it on. It's not like where I am like a capital F feminist. I resent the fact that I have to prove that my pain is real because I'm a woman and therefore I'm weak. Does it really hurt, or are you just being a girl? I hate the things that I have to combat to be heard. And I hate the fact that I'm not a small dude. And like my husband specializes in, I mean, he works for oil and gas companies, but he does artificial intelligence. And I remember the day he came home and he was like, did you know that there is a real bias in medical science towards men? I'm like, no, really? And he's like, but like dosages. And I'm like, babe, I know you think, I know, because they're like, when the kids.
I'm just laughing because I know what a smart man he is. And
yeah,
he is brilliant.
But it's like, and like the day he discovered there was racism built into those AI features as well, like the face recognition software doesn't, it's all like they don't have enough dark faces or varying skin tones and facial structures in most of the systems that it can pick people up. And I'm like, that's why I say iPhone is an elitist piece of crap. Do you know how many of us worked in factories in high school and have cauterized fingers? I bet Apple has no idea what percentage of society that they left out with the first two iterations of the iPhone. People like me who couldn't use the screens. It's not like I'm some unicorn. I'm quite common. But that's beside the point when you talk about it. When you talk about these things, when you say, hey, I've been overlooked, and you look within the range of normal, it's unlikely that you're going to be heard. It's extremely likely you're going to be dismissed. So I remember the day I was like, I know, husband, you think that I just sort of don't care about our children, but I promise I do, because when they're sick, he's really worried. MK, you didn't write it down. Did you give them the exact dose that was written on the bottle? And I'm like, I did for RJ because he's a boy. For the girls, nope. Because I know it's bollocks from getting started. And that if I do what's on the bottle, I'm probably overdosing my daughters. I know this. So I don't.
Wow. Man, that
was a conversation, but he took it wrong.
I bet.
Had he not come home, he was always like, my husband is wonderful, by the way. He knew exactly what he married, to his credit. He's never tried to change me. But there are things I do like that scare him. Like, how can you not do exactly what it says? They're sick and this is medicine. And I'm like, yeah, but there's bias in medical science. There's bias in the studies. There's bias in the data. We're not small, man, whatever. So I promise I don't talk like this all the time. Because I'm not that present in the Facebook groups as Coach Sarah. But we are trying to be as inclusive as possible. But these are the moments when I will go off on biases, because I will go off on the biases that impact me. But my husband, this is one of the reasons we separated Coached and Loved from Fitness Protection, wanting Fitness Protection to be a little broader in scope. And my husband reads everything I send out to make sure that it is not repulsive to a dude, or a dude's not going to read what I just wrote, and it's not going to land very well. So it's a long way of saying Chase might hate it all, but he might be able to come and wade through all the capital F feminist stuff and find a couple of nuggets that work for him. And plus, Mr. Dr. Coach Sarah is going to show up from time to time to help out with strength too. So yay for that.
That's right. He showed up on Plank Day this past Tuesday to do all the fun rebuild planks and agreed that they were very hard. They were very hard. Plank Day and rebuild is real, guys. Last month we had Plank Day on Monday and maintain. This month we have Plank Day on Tuesday and rebuild. And it's not my favorite. Not going to lie. Not a huge fan. Alex Lanton, if you're listening.
I told him, I've been sending him screenshots of some of the reactions. Like, what was that? What did we do to you? Like, he has a new baby and he's in a really bad mood. He needs this, guys. Come on. He needs to feel powerful right now. You're helping.
Did you send him a screenshot of Roz and me holding hands while we did the Bulgarian squats?
I did. Good. That was amazing. I sent that to everybody in his office. So, Mommy, do you want me to hold your hand? That was so great.
Yes, please.
Roz, by the way, is like the breakout star of Fitness Protection. If you are not in our daily group, watching her hijack everything that's going on, she doesn't slow down the flow. She just waits till her mom can't stop her and the timer is going. And it's like,
that's exactly right.
They need to see Moana. Like, Roz, I need you to move to the side. They need to see me. 1 minute, Mommy. It's kind
we're
of
working on that right now.
Watching her totally IDGAF right at Sarah is epic. Before I go to bed every night, like that's when I sit down. I'm like, okay, it's time to see what Roz did. And I love it. Doesn't like take a 3-minute routine and turn it into 12 minutes. She's like smart and sneaky and waits. And she's like, if I do this now, no one is going to stop me. Somebody stop me. And then she jumps on. I love the hell out of your daughter, and I love watching her interact with you. It's so great. So the Breakout Star Fitness Protection, if you are not $30 a month, you can come see Roz get up and coach Sarah's shit every single day. And it's fan-freaking-tastic. I laugh hysterically. And we're hoping that the next Breakout Star will be Mr. Dr. Coach Sarah, because he showed it for the first time last week and got good reviews. Like, yeah, we need more boys. I'm like, right, because we don't have enough men in this world. Okay.
Yeah, exactly, right.
But I feel
the poor men don't get enough screen time, don't get enough airtime. Got to let them have their space. I was very flattered at the reception that he got, and he promised that he'll be back. Tomorrow morning he'll be traveling for work, but I will wait for Coach Roz to get up, the newly turned 4 Coach Roz, to join us for strength in both maintain and rebuild. So get excited for that. Barring some, huge disastrous tantrum that forces us to bag the whole thing, which is not out of the question these days. I'll tell you that much.
Woo. Final note, if I haven't made this clear, part of the exercises part of the impetus behind the exercises in all of the programs, in case you're wondering if fitness protection is a good fit for you right now, I based when I went to Alex Lanton and said it needs to be, we need to have a series every day, 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off, Friday. They need to be easy to do. And if my husband needs to be able to do them wherever he is. My husband travels for work for Monday through Thursday. So if he cannot do them in a hotel room, and not all of his hotel rooms have gyms, it needs to be minimum equipment that he can travel with. If everything is plyometric or body weight based, that is totally fine. We need to keep it simple. We need to keep it accessible. Worst case scenario, he's doing it in a stall in the client bathroom a couple of times throughout the day. So which is all that just say you don't have to buy anything new or fancy to join fitness protection. But as we have found out in the strength beta, yeah, you can't do this at work. You got, it's best if you do it first thing in the morning after you run, or last thing at night, because the strength gets a lot more complicated when we're trying to not just shore things up physiologically, but when we're for functional fitness, but when we're really trying to take things to the next level, then we need all the planes of motion, all the heavy things, and all the time to do it.
Yep. Although, so just to clarify though, that's for people in the strength beta. If you're in maintain or rebuild, you can definitely do the strength at work. In fact, we would love it if you did the strength at work and took a photo and shared it with us. That would make us really happy. Remember, back when I worked at Harvard, I used to do the strength in my office with my door closed, and it was great. And if you have an office with a door that closes, and actually it wasn't totally private, because there was like a frosted window glass thing in front. And I was always kind of paranoid that someone would walk by and just kind of hesitate in front of the frosted window glass and watch my outline do weird stuff. But
perfect stuff.
Yeah, perfect stuff.
Stuff they don't expect to see at Harvard.
Stuff they don't expect to see at Harvard.
In the language lab in the middle of the day.
Find a spot at work where you can have a modicum of privacy, and try doing it at work. Who knows what could happen? And take a photo and share it with us. We would love that if you are able.
Yay.
That's all the questions we have. That's all the questions in Facebook. That's all the questions in Twitch. And that's all the questions submitted from Maintain and Rebuild.
Thank you for playing Ask Away. Don't forget to join thecoachedandloved.com. Become a member of the site, so you can keep up to date on all the stuff that we're doing, especially all of the podcasts and all of the links. And if you join Fitness Protection for the low price of $30 a month, you can get some Roz in Dr. Coach Sarah's face and giggle 4 times a week, sometimes more. Yay! Your coach, your love. Let's go win at the week. I mean, you can do this week like a boss, or you can do it like a Ross.
Yeah. Do it like a Roz, everybody. Have a good week. Have a good night. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.